What is up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Hey, Mike. Guess what day it is? Hump day. If you don't know the reference to that, then I just proved I'm old. It's an old ad. What's up, Abby? Yeah, I know. I forgot to update the Twitch blurb that, announces when I'm live, and it still says, it's Monday. Look, I updated the title at least. I mean, it's 50%. It's still an F. But hey, it's better than nothing. It's an F, but not an F minus. I will take it. What's everyone up to, though, this week? Anybody got anything interesting that's been happening? I know the UK is, in a whole bunch of crap. Wanted to say the other word, but I'm still, starting out on the YouTube, so, don't want to get demonetized. But, yeah, so people are fighting back in the UK about the Online Safety Act. That is a bunch of bull. For those of you that are not familiar with it, basically, it's a censorship law. That's the long and short of it. They're trying to say the whole idea is, it's to protect the children! But, here's my honest view on things. I am less worried, and I said this exact thing in the video that got released a few hours ago on the long form site with the red play button. I am less concerned with a kid who happens to stumble across adult content than I am from having them go to places that potentially can have predators, like Roblox and Discord and all of that. Because the thing is, what's up, Seekne? If a child happens to stumble across adult content, all that's often required is a parent to be an actual parent and have a conversation. That's all you need to do. But a lot of parents, let me put it this way. The reality is every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. I know that might be controversial to some, but I will die on that hill. So it's a little bit upsetting to see that people, go after, all the adult sites, when really, let's be honest, they're taking it more from a puritanical sense. It's not, oh, let's protect the kids. These are the guys that will go after anything they sense as immoral. And I don't care what your view is. You don't have to look at it. You can have a conversation with your kids. You can have a conversation with kids about expectations, consent, realistic, perspectives on what dating should look like, because yes, I will be one of the first people to tell you those things on content. That's not a real depiction of what a relationship should look like. But the unfortunate reality is, by virtue of how a lot of these parents are so restrictive and, rather repressed, they don't open their children up to the opportunities to learn how to properly be an adult in the world. And that's why you have a lot of these behaviors of ill repute, shall we say, come from some of the most repressed cultures. Yeah. Parental controls already exist too, like a pie hole. Yeah, you can totally run a pie hole to censor things and everything, and it's not too much of an endeavor to get that working. I think TikTok is having a little bit of an issue there. Weird. Anyway, but yeah, I really think the reality is, and it's weird also to see how both the left and the right, not trying to make this a political issue, but I want to point this out, somehow came together to form Wonder Twin Powers Activate to go and censor a bunch of sites across the world. The UK government, I believe, is a little bit more left-leaning than the conservatives in the US, and the conservatives in the US are wanting to block adult content and all that. Just get your ISP to add blocks. Your ISP shouldn't block anything, too. But they should, I do believe ISPs in offering a subscription parental service where they can actually block websites and everything. But the problem is, all they can really do is block the websites at a DNS level. So you'd have to do things at a local level, because if your child figures out how to change their DNS address on their device, then they can bypass a lot of those blocks. But if you have a proper firewall, okay? You have a proper firewall on your network, like my pfSense or something like that, you can then actually pull those same domains, similar to a pie hole, and then actually do an IP address translation to it, so you can block those sites at the IP address and DNS level, so even if they change DNS, you're blocked at the IP address level. It's a little bit more in-depth, but I do that for some of the malware sites that come into my feeds and stuff like that, so I can block them. Like I've said many times before, Pi-hole, cool little project. But pfSense gives you a little bit more oomph for that, protection of your network. But yeah, it's been, grew up in the 90s and aughts. It's crazy how the internet was. I work for an ISP. Oh yeah, the internet used to be a complete Wild West, and that's why I get perturbed when parents keep saying, well, we gotta protect our kids from these encrypted apps that they're all talking on. Your kids aren't on an encrypted app. Even, let me tell you an interesting story. I learned from one of my buddies that actually worked for a rather large corporation. I'm not going to name names, but this is actually a common tactic amongst corporations. Do you know how a lot of these companies actually catch these predators on their networks? And it's laughable how this happens. So a lot of these predators actually are still using this stuff on their phone, right? Well, when they actually connect to a corporate guest network or something like that, their firewall gets these hits. They know what device was on the Wi-Fi, and it's hitting those certain sites. And then that corporation immediately has a log and then has to start reporting to the authorities, because they had it open still on their phone in Chrome or whatever. Yeah. Let me just say, people that are into children are not usually the brightest people. They are the sickest people, though. I will say that. Remember the days of parents telling their kids not to talk to strangers? Oh my God, I remember that. Now it's like everybody is making friends on the internet. Me included. Yeah, my cousin in high school, when he was in high school, got in a lot of trouble when his parents tried to block adult content via DNS, I assume. Made me laugh when my dad told me, like the kid was 17 and his parents were butthurt about him going places. Like he lived in STL, at least he wasn't going in the hood and finding a $5 holla. What about that dude from Israel and Las Vegas? Yeah, we were talking about that last stream. He's a schmuck. Do not condone that in the least. And, how shall I put this? I'm trying to think of a way of saying this without breaking guidelines. I wish him to get a biblical punishment. Let's just put it that way, okay? God, strike him down with lightning! That's my perspective on that whole thing. And that includes all the priests in the Catholic Church that do that stuff too. Anyone that touches kids deserves that. Zeus or Thor. They can flip a coin. I don't care. Same result. Let the old gods take care of it. Because apparently the new god is not up to snuff. Just to make that clear, that was a joke, Hashem, okay? Don't strike me! I need to change the thermal pass to my ThinkPad. It's burning my legs away. Yeah, clean your heatsink out with some good 91 or 99% alcohol, and then what I would do is get some Thermal Grizzly. It's not, which one is it? Crap, I have it in here somewhere. Am I excited for the new Lego Batman game? I honestly haven't played a Lego game in a minute. I wouldn't mind playing that. But yeah, Thermal Grizzly, Cryonaut. That's the stuff I use for a lot of my stuff. Innovatech Icy Diamond Innovatech Icy Diamond Compound is another good one that I used to use as well. That has bits of synthetic diamond in there. Diamond is a very good transmitter of heat. If anyone's ever wondered why they call diamond ice, it's because if you actually put diamonds in your hand, the thermal dissipation is so great on that, or thermal capacity. Either way, it absorbs the heat from your hand to make it feel cold. There you go. You're good for the thermal paste change. You'll want some 91% alcohol, 99% if you can get it for the cleanup. RT Clean 1 and 2 is a little bit better, I've noticed, than isopropyl alcohol 99%, but they'll both work fine. It's the good stuff that makes your CPU happy. Yeah, it's the good stuff. How the hell do I pass an audio device to my VM on my Proxmox server? So that should be able to. So you'll probably need to use some of the mappings. You'll need to. Excuse me. Sorry. This is where IOMMU comes into play. Don't know if you're talking about a USB audio device or a PCI Express based audio device. But there is ways to route that in. USB devices, it's relatively easy because it's just passing through USB, of course. But PCI Express, you'll have to look up that. I haven't really done pass-through in an audio device. I've maybe done GPU pass-through a few times, but yeah. It can be done. Upgrading the battery on my ThinkPad as we speak. Upgrading or replacing? I need to replace the battery on my Parrot OS laptop, the System 76 laptop. That should be here next week. I also got to get the part to fix my rifle. The bolt carrier group I found on my rifle started coming undone when I was at the range at DEF CON. So what I found out, and I'll show you side by side when the new one comes in, but basically there's two bolts in a bolt carrier group for the, the gas key that, connects to the gas tube, and then we'll pull back the mechanism to rack a new cartridge in. And per mil spec, it's supposed to be torqued down to a specific amount of torque, but also it's supposed to be staked, which essentially is taking pins and bending the metal in so the bolt can't move. They never staked mine down. So I ended up buying a new BCG, nothing too fancy, just a basic one. That should be mil spec. One spec for an M16. Doesn't make it full auto. It just means that it could handle full auto, and they're a little bit thicker from my understanding, which means it should be a little bit more durable. Down the road, I might upgrade it, but I just wanted to get it working. But that probably addresses my cycling issues I was experiencing. Yeah. I need to change my battery. Yeah, I think we all need to change our batteries. Our batteries also in our bodies. Our bodies are getting old. Doctor says I need a backiotomy. $10 points to anyone who actually gets that reference. Oh yeah, you guys have guns. Yeah. Physical security trumps all security. Let's put it that way. But no matter where you stand on the spectrum politically, as some of my friends like to say, when you go far left enough, you get your guns back. Not that I'm that far left, I'm just kind of a political nihilist. I got bored and mass downloaded YouTube playlists. Why did you do that? Oh, speaking of mass downloading, I've been tinkering with the idea of making an offline Wikipedia on a Raspberry Pi. I think my Pi 4 should be fine, but I want to maybe get a 256 or 512 gig SD card for it. Why do I want to do it? I don't know. It's 1:49 a.m. here, so what is with the sleep battery? Well, you see, the problem is that your sleep battery is not calibrated properly. So you're reporting 1%, but really, the controller for your battery is off calibration. So now what you need to do is you need to keep you powered on until you completely just crash out of, without your own consent. You just wake up and you find out everything's still on and everything. And, you're just by the point there, you're rolling on to the next stream after I've, probably closed out in a few hours, and then you make sure your battery gets to 100%, and you have your sleep battery completely recalibrated that way. How about a Meshtastic AI chatbot? So I saw a few of those when I was at DEF CON. Somebody actually plugged their LLM into the Meshtastic channels that DEF CON was running, and you could enter a few commands. Someone managed to run an uwu bot near me. So if you hit it with certain text, it would respond back with uwu. The other funny thing was the Meshtastic DEF CON firmware. By default, the notification tone was a Rick roll. It was funny at first, but then you get message after message after message. Like constantly like that. So I had to change that notification immediately. That's why in my videos, you just hear it doing a little chirp. How many furries were there? Plenty. Plenty. So you have this thing at DEF CON called FurCon. I'm not a furry. I have a lot of friends that are furries. And the honest truth is furries run the internet. If you look around at your tech job, I'm going to tell you 30 to 40% of the people around you are furries, and you just don't even know it. It's funny when I'm at work, and I actually point that out, and there's coworkers that are like, well, who in the department's a furry? And I'm like, if you can't figure it out, I'm not going to tell you, because I'm going to enjoy the fact of you just wondering who's a furry around here. And I just figure it out because I talk to some of these people, and there's little things you notice. Maybe they've got some plush animals on their desk. Maybe they've changed their screensavers to interesting things. Little picture here and there. But, yeah, there was a lot of furries at DEF CON. There always is. Though I noticed that there's not as many people in the past few cons. Maybe it's just because of the areas I was walking in, although normally you'd see them. Not as many in full fur outfits. Like, my first con, I probably ran into, 30 or 40, I think, in full-on fur suits. But then, in the past couple of years, I've only seen 5 or 6. I don't know if it's because, when DEF CON 31 happened, we were at the Caesars Forum, and you were within close proximity to, what was it? I think Caesars, Link, Flamingo, and Harrah's. So everyone was just there in that area. And then they could easily walk to the convention, most of the time stay in air conditioning, whereas in the past 2 years, it's been at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and if you happen to be in some of the close hotels, maybe it's walking across the street, but in most cases, you're going to have to hail a cab or take the shuttle or whatever. Oh God, what did you put, Vampire? More firewalls hacked. So let's see what David Bombal is saying. So, let me preface this with, I think David, he's an okay guy, but there's a few times where I've caught his content and he's sensationalizing things. Let me put it this way. I'd still rank him better than, Pirate Software. By far. I mean, the bar is in hell with Pirate Software. But, I often take his content with a grain of salt. That's all I'm saying.
Another day, another issue with firewalls. We have a researcher that's going to release exploit for full authentication bypass on Fortinet devices. This allows a remote attacker.
We've talked about Fortinet exploits for like a while here. There's been so many issues with Fortinet. So I have buddies that work at the Department of Defense, and unless I'm mistaken on the information they gave me, they told me a lot of them had been pulling Fortinets out for a while. Like long before this. Continuing on.
Bypass authentication. This is the CVE number. Fortinet have released a patch on August 12 of this year. But then we also have Cisco, warning of max severity flaw in FMC or Firewall Management Center. This is 10 out of 10. Cisco Secure Firewall Management Center software Radius remote code execution vulnerability. An attacker could...
Okay, so Radius. Many of you don't know what that is. Radius is a technology that allows you to secure your Wi-Fi a little bit better. I'm trying to reach to the recesses of my brain because I haven't done Radius in a while, but I think it's part of 802.1x for Wi-Fi. Now you got me wondering. Radius server. It's been a while since I've touched them. Yeah. That's what I thought. It's the authentication server for accounts using accessing a network. Yeah, central point. Yeah. So it's just a central way for you to log in and all that with your network credentials in a little bit more of a fortified way than just giving someone the Wi-Fi password. Yeah, remote dial-in authentication services way before Wi-Fi. Okay, cool. Yeah, like I said, I haven't touched Radius in a while, so forgive me on that one. Remember doing Microsoft and IAS. It's been a while ago. Yeah, because I've kind of stepped away from a lot of the world of networking as I shifted more into cybersecurity. It was a great baseline for me to start. I still do firewalls and all that, but I don't do Radius in my own house for obvious reasons. I don't need Radius, but in a corporate environment, Radius makes sense. But yeah, basically it helps for centralized management, scalability, security, and then, of course, roaming support. So you can go from one network to the other. Like, not just like in the sense of, going from one part of the building to another. Like with a mesh network, but we're talking about, you ever been to a college, for example? And you've gone from, I don't know if this completely translates to it, but basically, you go from one college campus building to another one, and they have the same credentials and everything. Because of that.
Exploit this vulnerability by sending crafted input when entering credentials that will be authenticated by a Radius server. You can become admin on the firewall by doing this. There are no workarounds. Cisco have released software updates for this. It affects a whole bunch of devices. 10 out of 10 on this. You can get around this, however, by disabling Radius on your Cisco Secure FMC software.
Yeah, just disable the thing that helps you be more securely authenticated and you'll be more secure. I'm sorry, that's just funny to me. He's not wrong there. I'm just saying it's funny to me. In the UK, all universities use eduroam. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. Huh. Do I recommend any VPNs? So, first off, disclaimer. If you're at home just trying to use the internet and you're not on a public network, you're not trying to get around geo-blocks, anything like that, you know, we don't want you to get around like that UK Online Safety Act or any state-specific blocks in the US for certain content. No, we don't want you having to do that. Then you don't really need a VPN. But if you are, there's two providers that I recommend. There's Proton, which, disclaimer, I am affiliated with. If you do want to use their services, I recommend their email, their password manager, their VPN, the entire suite. It's a great price for everything. I have links in my bio for that and help support the channel. The other one, not affiliated with, but I will give them a shout out as well, Molvad. Those are the only two I recommend if you're not building your own VPN. I don't recommend, I mean, let me rephrase that. I recommend building your own VPN wherever possible, but if you build your VPN in a data center, it probably will get blocked from streaming a lot of services and everything. Use NordVPN because it comes with Revolut. I just don't care for NordVPN because of how they dropped the ball on a security disclosure a few years ago, which was not even a major issue, but it was like pulling teeth to get them to disclose that there was even an issue with a couple of their servers. Just my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. Do I use LibreOffice? Of course I do.
This is not great.
I also use Thunderbird with Office 365 because I am a heathen.
Firewalls are supposed to be there to protect you. But look at this issue. We have Fortinet problems. I recently spoke about other vendors, and
I get to tease Colonel Dump because he likes Fortinet. Don't get me wrong. I love Colonel Dump. But if y'all want to troll Colonel Dump, go over there and tell him Chief Geek says that, tell him Chief Geeked says that, Fortinet sucks and you should get on PF Sense. We troll each other all the time. I don't know if any of you have actually seen our content going back and forth. We troll each other a lot. We mess with each other. There was the little live we did on his TikTok where we were messing with each other. And if many of you met me IRL and with him, you'd see we mess with each other. Wreck-It Mac actually saw that. Hey, thank you for the follow. Well, we know you watch Beavis and Butthead. TP for my bunghole 1, 2, 3. I am Cornholio. Wait. We're gonna do it. I am Cornholio. I am Cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole. All right, and somebody probably clipped that. You're goated, dude. I love your content. I appreciate the love. What about Perfect Privacy? Not familiar with them. I use only Office nowadays. They're good. They're good. They did actually work with me a while back for some content. They're not too bad. I did have some feedback for some of their product suite. That was about it. Nothing negative to say, though. It was just, you know, constructive criticism. All right, but which is the best thing I've watched in years. It was also made during the toilet paper pandemic. All right, let's go back to this.
Again, I've recently also covered another 10 out of 10 CVE on Cisco devices. Not good to see this. What are you doing in the real world to mitigate this? Are you just keeping your software up to date? When the stuff comes out, do you run multiple firewall vendors? So as an example, you might have a Cisco firewall and then another vendor's firewall. What are you doing to solve this problem? Occupy the Web and I preview.
The main thing you do is you update your stuff. The problem is, no matter how much you try to have a perfect system, there are always going to be vulnerabilities found, even in PF sense. I've had vulnerabilities, and the fix is you have to update your software.
He created videos talking about Fortinet and how this kind of authentication can be bypassed. And there were comments like, this is an old CVE. Well, here's a brand new one, 2025 52970. Same kind of issue where the attacker can impersonate any active user, including an administrator. This issue impacts FortiWeb 7.0 to 7.6.
Updating is a nightmare sometimes. It can be, which is why... see you later, Christopher. Thanks for hanging out. Happy hacking, bud. So that's why I actually recommend, and we're actually trying to push for this at work as well, put together a closet of every single piece of network hardware and standardize on printers and things like that. So you can actually have some sacrificial devices to do your testing on with updates and firewalls and everything like that. And then you can iron out the kinks before you deploy it into production.
Fixed in these releases, so make sure that you patch your system. Version 8 releases aren't impacted by this issue, so no action needs to be taken there. There are also no workarounds. You have to upgrade the software. This has a score of 7.7, and as bleeping computers say here, that can be deceptive because in practice, it's a brute force attack that allows you to do this. So the researcher is going to release the details later, but wants to give people time to fix their systems. This is not good. We have Cisco, 10 out of 10, and we have a Fortinet vulnerability again, 7.7 severity level. Not good to see this. Come on, firewall vendors, do better than this.
Here's the problem with when I say that he was getting sensationalized there. You know, he's like, come on, firewall vendors do better than this. Here's the reality. Even in a perfect world, well, we're not in a perfect world. That's the problem. All this stuff is created by humans. There are flaws that are going to be found. Look, Linux has vulnerabilities every now and then. And that's not because Linux is a bad operating system. It's because there are vulnerabilities because they're written by humans, but then they're also identified by humans. There is, show me an antivirus, show me a firewall vendor that is without flaws, and I will find you a liar. Because every single system has a flaw at some point or another. It may not be visible. Some may be better than others, but there are inherently going to be flaws at some level. And that's why I'm like, where I say like David Bumball is a little bit like, sensationalist. And mind you, I'm not a Fortinet person. I'm not a Cisco person. I'm not a fan of Cisco. Their licensing model is absolutely atrocious. But to expect that no vendor is gonna, it's like he who without sin throw the first stone, that whole saying, it's the same thing. Unfortunately, as long as you're on the internet, you have a potential vulnerability. And the best you can do is manage your systems and patch them as best as possible. That's all it comes down to. Well, Corona, we Germans bunked toilet paper, the Italians condoms and the like. That does not surprise me. Opinions on Network Chuck. Honestly, I haven't seen too much of his content. I don't really have much of an opinion on him. The few things I've seen are, basically just, talking about what to me seems like rather basic things, but that could have just been the videos that I've seen of him. I know that when Network Chuck took down his video critiquing Linus Tech Tips for the A+ exam, when I actually spoke to CompTIA, because I had my own reactionary video, and they asked me to take mine down because of the copyrighted material that was in there, they had mentioned that Network Chuck was another person they had to reach out to about those kind of things. So we're both on the professional side of things. I can't speak much to him, good or bad. I know people have their opinions, but I haven't had as much exposure nor interactive interactions with him to really have much of a informed opinion. As to opposed, Pirate Software, where we saw him everywhere. What copyrighted stuff was in yours? Oh, so the copyrighted stuff was because Linus Tech Tips was using CompTIA's material, which in and of itself was copyrighted. There was their copyrighted material in there, and as a professional courtesy, they seriously they didn't, threaten me or anything. They kindly asked me if I could take it down because there were copies of their questions and, stuff that were in there that people could be taking on the test. And as a professional courtesy, I honored their request, and I took my video down and I privated it. It was like, I took the streams down, I took the VOD down, I took the YouTube video I put up of it. Technically, it's privated. But, yeah, it was just, it was one of those things. They nicely reached out to me over email, set up a Zoom call. We had a conversation. There was no threats, no issues really with my content. They agreed with the comments that I had made and the perspectives that I had. The issue they mainly had was because by virtue of the fact I was reacting to Linus Tech Tips content that had violated the copyright of CompTIA and exposed some of the questions that were actually in the test. Because remember, they actually recorded the actual exam he was taking, which is a big no-no. And that was what I was also calling out in my video. He shouldn't have recorded this, and I was calling out this and that and this and that and this and that. They didn't have any issues with my video itself. It was more so because of the virtue. There was no way to really edit the video around to remove the copyrighted material as well as the material specific to the tests. I removed it out. Yeah, I mean, it is fair use, but like I said, it's a professional courtesy. They didn't threaten me. They just kindly asked me to remove it, and I said, look, I have no problem with that. That was it. They were more upset than Linus. Linus, they actually came to with, legal threats and stuff like that, as I recall. I've seen a thing called the honey box. The honey box. What's up, HBX? In nearly all cybersec forums, you will find people be like, how to get into Instagram accounts. Sometimes they add something like, I forgot a password. Oh, you see that all the time. I've literally had friends of mine. Okay, let me see. Hold on. Is this what you're talking about? Honeybox. Oh, so it's just a honeypot. It's an appliance designed to honeypot. I don't even know if you would really need to deploy an appliance like this anymore. Here's why. Let me show you another thing I've been playing with for a while. I want them to give me one for my home lab, but they won't. A lot of people are familiar with Zscaler, and I do like their platform, but they have a thing called Deception. And I like their approach a lot better. 1 second. I am just trying to find... They don't really have much of a... It's one of those, lesser known products of theirs. What browser am I using? Firefox. Hold on. Do they have the overview? Okay, here we are. So basically, Zscaler Deception allows you to deploy decoys in many different ways. So, like, this is basically doing the same thing. But the problem with this is I think this is an on-premise device. Unless they have... Do they have cloud operations? Anyway, with this, you can actually deploy it. So, like, you can drop, like, it on a dedicated device or a VM. And it's basically a FreeBSD connector that can adapt to anything. So if you hit this box, like it's an Apache, it'll act like a vulnerable Apache. If you configure it to be an F5, it'll act like an F5. And it can act like all these things at the same time. So you can have it like be like a Cisco Panorama server, Cisco ICE in vulnerable states to let attackers go after that device while you're collecting recon intel. And then what Zscaler Deception will do is feed that information from the honeypots, the honey net, essentially, at that point, whether it's in the cloud, your on-prem system, anything like that, into anything else you need. So, like, you can feed that information into CrowdStrike for your indicators of attack. You can feed it back into your Okta to automatically rotate passwords if it finds there's a true positive where it makes a hit on a known password for a credential there, and then force that user inside the environment to cycle out. You can feed those rules into different firewalls to start blocking the IP addresses and everything like that. So there's a lot you can do with this. I'm not saying you can't do it with a lot of other honeypot technologies. It's just, out of all the ones I've played with, Zscaler Deception is one of the nicest. Hey, did you hear about the news about Firefox AI causes excess CPU usage and people are upset? What, you mean an AI is using a lot of resources on people's machines because it's doing extra computation? This is my shocked face. Yeah, I mean, it's an AI. I mean, what'd you think was going to happen? See, now correct me if I am wrong. Firefox is probably trying to do a lot of that processing more local than, say, Google, ChatGPT, where you're just feeding it a text and it's doing the processing in their systems in the cloud. So, if it's running things locally, yeah, it's going to use a lot more AI, but the honest truth is I've never actually used the AI built into the browser. I've only used AI when I'm in LM Studio, maybe ChatGPT, Amazon Q, Claude, DeepSeek when I run it locally, things like that. Apparently they tried to use AI to guess tab groups. How would you do that? Didn't Firefox go back on their word of selling your data and whatever? Why not use Brave? No, they didn't do that. It was a lot of people reading into A Much Ado About Nothing. I actually made a long video about this a few months ago. And I even reiterated this on YouTube. I mean, on TikTok. Although the video is originally on YouTube. Here, I will see if I can find the title. Oh yeah, by the way, while we're here, I have a new video that came out a few hours ago, if you haven't seen it. Why COSA, UK Online Safety Act, Screen Act, and chat control won't protect kids, but, will censor you. So hold on. Is Firefox selling your data? Is Mozilla Firefox selling your data? Let's break it down. So I made this 4 months ago. So here. It's not a very long video. So we can watch this together. It'll be so funny if I get a copyright strike because I'm watching my own video. That'd be funny. You just don't get why Mozilla doesn't innovate like Brave. Here's the thing. Mozilla actually is running their own engine. Brave, do not get me wrong, I like Brave. See? Brave is over here as well. I use them as one of my Chromium-based browsers. Brave is relying on the Chromium engine. They don't have to do as much work under the hood. Everything they're doing is on top of the engine. Mozilla Firefox has to build the entire browser, including their engine. They're doing a lot more work with their entire web browser than many others are. Microsoft Edge, same case as Brave. They only have to use the engine, then do all the other work around it. Google Chrome is doing the heavy lifting with the Chromium engine. And then everyone else gets the benefit off of Google's work. Yeah, I remember when their user base plummeted because of RAM usage, but that was before they had the Quantum engine and Chrome became the hog that it is now. Anyway, here's where because I don't even remember all my own points about the Firefox thing because it was a few months ago, but here we go. Mozilla is under fire for supposedly selling your data, but is that actually true, or is this another case of people misreading legal jargon? I should wear that shirt again, by the way. Let's break it down. That's a comfy shirt. Before you rush to the comments, I want you to watch this video all the way through. There's a lot to cover, and I know it's tempting to respond with a knee-jerk reaction, but trust me, you're going to want all the context before making up. Oh my god, I can see how bad the quality is on this video compared to my most recent ones because the lighting is totally off on this because I didn't have a light over here. This is so weird looking back at my old videos and critiquing my own crappy stuff as I was starting up and, you know, upping my quality. And for those of you who don't know me, my background is in cybersecurity, and part of cybersecurity isn't just technical protection. It's also understanding compliance and... Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to all the platforms. Legal frameworks. In fact, compliance was a major part of my CISSP. Do I support the EFF? I'm a gold card member. I've got their shirts for like the past 3 years from DEF CON. I don't just skim them. I'm also a Tor supporter. What they mean in a legal and security context. And before we dive in, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and check out my other socials linked below. Now, let's take a look at how we got here. So, what's happening with Mozilla? Mozilla, the company behind Firefox, recently updated its terms of use, and suddenly, the internet exploded with claims that Mozilla is now selling your data. But here's the thing. This is mostly misinformation and misunderstanding of legal language rather than Mozilla actually betraying user trust. If you care about user privacy, you need to understand what's really happening instead of just taking the headlines at face value. Let's break down the legal jargon. So where did this controversy come from? Mozilla updated... I'm a Firefox lover for life and Thunderbird. Yeah, I like Thunderbird. Still use Thunderbird. Been using Thunderbird for like 20 or so years. That's the one thing I haven't switched away from. I switched away from Firefox for a little while. Terms of use to be more transparent, but the problem comes from the definition of the word sell. In some legal jurisdictions, especially in places like California under the CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act, selling data can mean just sharing or exchanging data in any way, even if no money is involved. Mozilla, like many other companies, has to include this broad definition even though they aren't literally selling your personal data to advertisers. This is why people hate legalese. Honestly, legal documents can feel like double speak. This is why if you work in cybersecurity, by the way, you should get to know a good lawyer that you can actually ask a bunch of random questions to. There's a lot of gray area we deal with, and I have a lawyer on speed dial. They say one thing, but mean another, and it's designed to protect the company. No, Firefox is not compromised. It's still one of the best privacy browsers out there. To be clear to the end user. This is also why anyone in cybersecurity usually knows a good lawyer, because when you deal with compliance, contracts, or anything that could lead to liability, you need someone... I made this video so long ago, I don't even remember what I said in this video. Someone who speaks legal fluently. Like when I first started doing physical penetration testing, giggity, I had to get legal guidance to make sure... I forgot I did that! Lead to liability, you need someone who speaks legal fluently. Like when I first started doing physical penetration testing, giggity, I had... legal guidance to make sure I wasn't walking into a situation where I could be arrested just for doing my job. If you know, you know. Let's talk about what Mozilla is actually doing. Let's be clear. Mozilla has not changed its core stance on privacy. Firefox doesn't sell your browsing history or personal data to advertisers. They still actively block trackers and fingerprinting. Telemetry data collection is minimal and can be turned off. Now, does Firefox collect and share some data? Yes. But here's what that actually means. Mozilla themselves said in their blog post, in order to make Firefox commercially viable, there are a number of places where we collect and share some data with our partners, including our optional ads on New Tab and providing sponsored suggestions in the search bar. So what's happening here? But Brave over Firefox? As tracking-based advertising, I'd still use Firefox. These ads and suggestions are optional and can be disabled in settings. And whenever. So one of the problems is that everyone's still relying on the Chromium engine, but a lot of the plugins are not going to be working moving forward. Whereas Firefox still lets you do things. Mozilla shares data. They take significant steps to protect privacy. Whenever we share data with our partners, we put a lot of work into making sure that the data that we share is stripped of potentially identifying information or shared only in the aggregate or is put through our privacy-preserving technologies like OHTTP. So even when some data is shared, it's anonymized, meaning your personal identity is stripped from it, aggregated, meaning it's collected in large groups, not on an individual basis, privacy preserved, meaning it's routed through oblivious HTTP, OHTTP to prevent tracking. Mozilla is actively working to make sure Firefox remains privacy-friendly while still remaining financially sustainable. They also remind users. So the one thing I think a lot of people forget, and I touched on that right there, financially sustainable, is they forget how much it costs to run a web browser. I want you to think about how many people are downloading a web browser every day. Now just think about the bandwidth costs on that, even at a CDN. That budget alone, I will tell you from firsthand experience, is more than most of you make in a year, possibly in a month. Keep that in mind. So it costs a lot of money to even have any kind of browser. That's why when I say I use Firefox, the reason why is, as much as I like Brave, I'm not hating on Brave, but underneath, they're still reliant upon Google technology. And the problem with that is you're still leaning into the Google monopoly. So what's to stop Google, once they have the monopoly on that web engine control, from dictating how they want the internet to run? And we've seen this before. Many of you may not be old enough to remember when Microsoft Internet Explorer was the monopoly. Internet Explorer 6 literally stagnated the internet. To the point, many of you don't remember. This is going to traumatize a lot of IT people. Prepare for the 1,000-yard stare, my friends. ActiveX. Do you remember ActiveX? Do you remember when Microsoft was literally trying to make the internet a paid-for experience? And I don't mean just paying for your ISP. Imagine there'd be tolls on the internet everywhere you go. What stopped that was open source. The Apache web server beat Microsoft IIS and Mozilla Firefox, formerly Netscape Navigator, a lot of people don't know that history there, is what forced Internet Explorer to eventually give up and move on. And Microsoft couldn't compete to the point they released their Edge browser built on Chromium engine. Gave up on fighting Google by de-Googling too much BS. The only Google-related thing I have is my YouTube account. I don't have a Gmail. I have a Google account. Finish this video up. Make sure that Firefox provides you with sensible default settings that you can review during onboarding. 2023 Mozilla expenses were 496 million. Yep, that makes sense. Or adjust at any time. Oh, I have Proton Mail too. In other words, you control what's shared. If you don't like it, I personally use Proton Mail. What's the alternative? And this brings up a bigger question. If you don't... So this is where I get into the point when people ask me why Firefox. This is why. Firefox, what's your alternative? Can you name a browser that isn't just a fork of Chromium or Firefox but still gives you the same level of control? Because here's the hard truth. Almost every other major browser today is built on Chromium or Firefox. Sure, you can use Firefox forks like Florp, which is pretty interesting and something I've played with myself, and other forks like LibreWolf, but at the end of the day, they and other Firefox... It's the lighting, Colonel Dump. ...rely on the vast majority of work being done upstream by Mozilla. Same goes for Brave, which despite its privacy features, still depends on Google's Chromium engine, and here's the real concern. I don't know if many of you remember or were even around when Microsoft's embrace, extend, extinguish strategy that got them in trouble with the Department of Justice, DOJ, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Google pulls similar moves once there's a lack of competition. Once Firefox is gone, Google would no longer have to pretend to care about open web standards. They'd have free reign to make Chrome and Chromium even more locked down, even more restrictive, and even less privacy-friendly. If you truly want a privacy-focused browser that isn't dependent on Google's ecosystem, Mozilla is really the last option standing. What you should take away from this: Mozilla did not suddenly start selling your personal data. Google doesn't own Chromium, but they do the majority of the contribution, and the project is basically bankrolled by them. Firefox is still one of the most privacy-friendly browsers out there, and you can disable data collection entirely if you want to. If not Firefox, then what? There's no real alternative that isn't a Chromium or Firefox fork. Instead of jumping to conclusions, we should actually read these policies carefully before hitting the outrage button. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video... Yeah, basically, I still use Firefox. I use Brave when I need a Chromium-based browser because there's a lot of things like when I flashed my Meshtastic, I need a Chromium-based browser to use, and it didn't work on Firefox. I'd use Firefox if it didn't murder my Mac. Well, there's your problem. You're using a Mac. Grow up and use a real boy computer. I'm teasing. I'm teasing. I'm curious, though. What does HTOP say my Firefox load is? It's barely using any of my CPU. I'm hitting like maybe a couple percent. HBX has been on my streams for a while. He knows I tease people. He's also in my Discord server. You know, because I'm cooler and I have one of those. You know, us young whippersnappers, Colonel. Trust that face with my router password. Discord is for deviants, Slack is for pros. I don't know. There's a lot more of the cybersecurity people on Discord, and DEF CON doesn't run a Slack. They run a Discord. Also, regarding Slack... First off, fuck your bitch and the click you claim. Yeah, they're all deviants. Especially that deviant Olam guy. Any advice on turning my old laptop from Windows to Linux? Tutorial video maybe? It's not even that complicated. So, you have Windows, right? So you're going to want to grab a software. I can't really show it because I don't... My Windows box is my stream box, but... So you're going to do a couple of things. One, you're going to grab this software here. There's a couple others out there, but this is the basic, easy way to do it. It's called Rufus. A lot of people use this, and this will help you flash a flash drive. So you will need a flash drive as well. Sorry, I have the hiccups right now. So you'll grab this, run that, and then what you're going to do is grab a flavor of Linux and grab what's called the ISO. So you can go to, for example, what I use. Help me bypass Zscaler in my work PC. It's wrecked by IntelliJ plugins. Well, what you're going to need to do is talk to your cybersecurity department and tell them to actually inspect the traffic, because they're going to either have to drop SSL inspection on certain things, or they're going to have to tweak the settings. But you yourself are probably not going to be able to bypass it, because depending on how your company set it up, you're probably going to need a logout password they're going to have to hand to you. And I know I reluctantly give those out myself at work. You can't just uninstall it. If you set it up right, you need a password to remove it. And if you're in a decent company, they shouldn't be letting you run as admin, so you can't uninstall the software. But anyway, so you're going to grab the ISO, as I was saying. You're going to download that. So this is like System 76. You can get Ubuntu, Linux Mint, whatever. You can see they have Pop! OS, with NVIDIA support, without NVIDIA support, because it has AMD or, older GPUs for NVIDIA. Firefly. I've been here. I was only, in Vegas 2 weeks ago, but I've been streaming, several times a week. I'm still around. The TikTok algorithm is just weird. But yeah, I've been streaming often. How you been, Neo? You doing all right, bud? I don't think Chief can see my text. Yes, I can see your text. Wait, what text? Did you clip? God damn it, you clipped me. Did you really clip me? If y'all want to troll Colonel Dump, go over there and tell him Chief Geek says that, tell him Chief Geeked says that, Fortinet sucks and you should get on PF Sense. I forgot I said that. And I'm sober. Hold on. Colonel Dump, how dare you? Wait. Hold on. Oh God, what did you put? Don't look in Discord. The Meshtastic node thing that you just sent? Big news, if you knew my history a bit, I'm about to close on my first house. Hey, Mazel Tov! You got a Meshtastic solar node? Nice. I still gotta order mine, but I gotta do my antenna for my ham radio. I want to do that first. And then I need to install, yeah, weren't you doing something with, our crypto buddy? You were gonna, have both of you have comms? Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying earlier to the guy that's like, I want to install Linux, so it's as simple as, well, first off, make sure to back up all the files that you want off the actual device, because when you install Linux, you're most likely going to be wiping things. Get a flash drive, get Rufus, find a distribution of Linux that you want to install. I use Pop! OS, there's Linux Mint, there's Zorin, there's Ubuntu, Xubuntu, Lubuntu, Kubuntu, Tuxedo OS, Parrot OS, there's a lot of them out there. Go forth and play. Oh yeah, Ventoy. That was the thing I was thinking of. Ventoy is another one. You can set up a flash drive using that. Either way, you're going to need a flash drive. Distro hopping for life. I used to distro hop. Then you get to a point where you just realize almost all Linux distributions are basically the same thing. But yeah, it looks like Save It for Parts made a, what you call it? Solar node, and they hit it somewhere in Alaska. I wonder if that's going to survive through the winter. Learning cybersecurity on try hack me. When I install an OS, do you recommend Kali? No, I actually recommend Parrot OS. Kali is not really designed to be a daily driver. There's some optimization issues and config issues that I have with it, that if you're actually trying to use an ethical hacking distribution daily, Parrot OS is what I recommend, especially if you want to install it on a bare metal device, because Parrot OS you can actually use as a daily operating system as well. In fact, they have a version of Parrot OS without all the security tools. You can just use that as a desktop. And it's a really nice looking one too. I have that on one of my DEF CON laptops. pfSense versus OpenSense. I personally use pfSense. pfSense has a little bit more bells and whistles and configuration, and businesses actually are using pfSense, like data centers and such. OpenSense is okay. There are some things where it's a little bit faster on developing for. It's definitely a little bit easier to use out the box. There definitely is more of a learning curve to pfSense, but in my experience, there's a reason why I've stayed on pfSense. I tried OpenSense, and I went back to pfSense. Some people are perfectly happy with OpenSense, but I just like the customizability and configuration and bells and whistles that I have with pfSense versus OpenSense in my network configuration. That's just my 2 cents. Any thoughts on HexOS? Have not played with it. I only hope because I experiment and some files are missing or blocked by the OS. Wait, what? Oh. Best Linux video editing software. So the one I use is actually pretty good. So this is actually one that works on Mac, Windows, or Linux. This is KDE Live or Kden Live. This works on Mac, Windows, or Linux. It's actually what I use for all of my videos. And you can see it's pulling right off of my NAS. I've done the audio effects, the video in here, editing out all the screens, the transitions, all of that stuff. KDE Live works pretty well. You can use DaVinci Resolve as well on Linux if you already have a license for that, and that's, you know, your speed. But just know that if you use DaVinci Resolve, you are going to need an NVIDIA GPU. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. Whereas with KDE Live, you can use NVIDIA, you can use integrated Intel, you can use AMD, but when you go to render things, I do notice that... Hey, thank you for the 100 biddies. Balloon. Thank you for that. But as you can see over here, in Intel, you can do H.265 encoding. You can do AV1 encoding on NVENC and H.265. But with VAPI on AMD, you can still only do H.264. So that was one of the reasons why I still prefer using NVIDIA. The compression between H.265 and H.264 does allow you to get about, I think it's about 1/3 the video, was it like a quarter, 1/3 of the size of what video I actually rendered with. But the reason why I like Kden Live is sometimes I will edit videos on my laptop upstairs and forget to switch over to the NVIDIA GPU. So I will just use the AMD for rendering, and it renders fine on H.264. They render in about the same time. But H.265, if given the option, we'll end up with a better quality, well, not better quality, but a better compressed video, which then translates into it'll be easier to upload the video to YouTube and other online platforms. They fixed DaVinci Resolve for AMD. Oh, did they? Okay, cool. I'll have to play with it because I haven't in a while. Now, the one thing I will say for DaVinci Resolve, I know this is they do have a paid-for version that has more effects. The transcoding, if I remember that was it, you only get in the paid-for version, so you're going to have to convert some videos to a different format before you can use it if using the community version. Because I know I ran into that issue when I was trying to pull videos off my Samsung S23 that I had recorded and wanted to transcode it. And then you'd have to use FFmpeg for that. And I just didn't care to do that because that meant extra processing time, whereas Kdenlive had that all built in. So at least for a lot of the stuff I've been doing, it's perfectly fine. Now, DaVinci also has another issue in terms of Linux. It's not really an issue, but just something to be aware of. Let me see if I can find it. So DaVinci has a distribution of Linux, and it's more so optimized for CentOS and Red Hat Enterprise Linux types. But you can get around that. Someone has made a packager, if I remember. I think this was it. Yeah, so you download it, you select the free Linux version, unzip the archive. Oh, there we go. You use this over here. There's a tool I found. Maybe it's not live anymore. We'll see. But essentially, you want to repackage it into a Debian type. There's many ways to do this. The reason why is if you're running an Ubuntu type, there we go. If you're running an Ubuntu or Debian-based Linux like Pop! OS, you want to ideally make it packaged into a Debian format. You can easily install it with the shell script, and it may work fine, but the Debianizing of it makes it also easier to remove it and maintain it and stuff like that. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, Bazite is a script that can make DaVinci Resolve containers for you. Yeah, like a lot of the Linuxes have ways to do it. I just know that you can't just... I mean, you can run the shell script for it to install everything, and it'll work, but I noticed there were fewer issues when I Debianized it on my system. DaVinci Resolve works perfect on my RX 7900 XTX with ROCm. Nice. See, that was the main reason why I got an NVIDIA GPU on both of these machines, was I always had the feeling that eventually I might move to DaVinci, and I know CUDA and NVENC work a little bit better. Now, I'm probably not going to move away from NVIDIA on my stream boxes, though, because NVENC is still king. That is until one day when I get the beefy amount of money to maybe drop on like a Threadripper or something, and then I can start doing CPU encoding, which is technically superior for the quality, but I would need a whole separate box, and that would be a whole kit and caboodle, and if we're talking multi-streaming and everything like that, where I'm currently streaming to 4 different platforms, it's a little bit more involved. Also, I'm loving the fact that my ISP that I switched to, it's having little stutters here and there, but nowhere near the level I was getting with shitty BreezeLine. I'm glad we fixed that. Damn, this is one of the best I've had in a while. What? Oh, this live? This live is one of the best I've had in a while. That's what we do around here. We do a little bit of tinkering. We'll be doing a little bit of gaming on Linux. Am I still on Kick? Yeah, I'm still streaming to Kick. It's been more of an experiment to see what the experience is like out there, but I admittedly don't have a lot of people there. There's like 20 people following me. Not a lot. but then again, I remember when I started on Twitch, and I was like, nobody's gonna follow me, nobody's gonna be on my live streams. Here I am about a couple years later. Can't believe I've been streaming for a couple years. And, I think I'm at, 1,500 people following me on, Twitch? Do you think Mastodon will catch on? I want it to, but will it actually? That's a different question. The thing with Mastodon, I'm not hating on Mastodon. I have a Mastodon server. I still use it. I love it, and I will still continue paying to host it. But people, for some reason, it is so hard for them to accept it's different than other social media, whereas people have this baked in their mind, the Web 2.0 mentality of things, and have completely forgot how the internet was. What I mean by that, allow me to explain. People have been so accustomed to going to a platform, making an account on there, and then you are just homed on that platform. But they have completely forgotten that in the early days of the internet, we had an account on different servers. You wanted to use email, you found a service provider, you signed up for them, and then you could contact everyone else. It's very hard for the average person, apparently, to just understand Mastodon, the whole Fediverse idea, is really just you finding a home server, and then just like email, you can connect with everyone else. That's why Blue Sky is more popular than Mastodon right now. Because people, unfortunately, still can't get over that first hurdle with the ActivityPub-based Fediverse, that they just think of Blue Sky as, I just go to this app, I sign up, I make an account. They don't actually look into the steps that Blue Sky was also designed so that you can have your own home server and it's decentralized in a different way. The amount of people that actually run their own Blue Sky instances is very small. The only reason I don't run a Blue Sky instance yet is purely because I am waiting for them to have OAuth. Once they have OAuth, and I don't know why they've been dragging their feet for 2 freaking years, we can get away from email MFA, which is BS. We can then do TOTP as well as passkeys and FIDO WebAuthn. But furthermore, then we can start looking at how to actually integrate apps a little bit better to connect with it. Because currently the way that you connect with Blue Sky, it's just really janky in that respect. You think Matrix will catch on? I think Matrix will catch on a little bit sooner than Mastodon, because if Discord keeps screwing themselves the way they have, yeah. I have this sinking feeling. I have a Discord server. I have no plans to nuke it for the foreseeable future. But with Discord seeking IPO and making more money, eventually they're going to do something that's going to bone the entire network and screw themselves. And the problem with Discord is, and I hate the fact that people think of Discord servers as like you have your own server. It's not a server. You're basically in a room of different channels on their servers. But Matrix, I think, given the push towards the UK Online Safety Act, the Screen Act, the Kids Online Safety Act, EU chat control, I really think more people need to look into decentralized technologies to retain control of their systems. Because if we make it impossible for governments to regulate a lot of these systems, then it makes a lot of their enforcements ineffective. What I mean by that is, okay, you're in the UK, but my server's in the US. So you can't enforce UK law on my chat server because I'm in the US. Oh, the US is enforcing laws. Cool. I'm just going to move my server over to like St. Kitts and Nevis, have it hosted by Nyala. Good luck. You know, like you can just move shit around. Make it difficult for them. What's with Firefox's own Windows recall feature, allowing Firefox to record your history, etc.? I don't know about that, but you can disable a lot of things. I don't even have Firefox saving my history for my browser. Matrix clients suck and have no standardization, and most clients that don't support all the features are really buggy. Well, I pretty much use Element, and it seems to work pretty well. But you have to remember, Matrix is still... How do I put this? It's still a maturing protocol. An ecosystem. It may pick up over time, but I know some governments are using them. I had friends emailing me with ACC problems and casual attaching their password on it for me to log in and fix whatever's wrong. Like, no, A, I'm not logging into your account, and B, don't email your password. You know what we used to do is people that left their password. So, you know, you ever been to a hotel and they have that computer in the business center and people leave their accounts logged in on there? So my friends and I used to actually make it a habit when we would go into their computers and see people's accounts that were still logged in. We would like go in if it's like Facebook and say, hey, your account was still on, logged into the hotel and everything. Go change your password to make a post out there from their own profile. If they had like AOL or Gmail or something still logged in, we'd rename all their folders to change your password, change your password, change your password. Am I stuttering or was it me? I think it's you because I haven't shown that much of a frame drop. I'm showing only 0.3% frames in the past hour and a half I've been live. What would you use in lieu of Matrix? Meshtastic? Ham radio? Tin cans and string? But most of the people I actually communicate with is Signal. Signal is where I communicate with most people. Especially if I link up with people at DEF CON. It's like, hey, give me your Signal. Did your mini laptop work well at DEF CON? Oh, that thing worked great at B-Sides and DEF CON. The mini laptop to take notes and all that? Yeah. I definitely need to do some improvements on it. I'll hopefully have those in touch for time for next DEF CON. Why Gov needs to be in our business? They don't need to be in our business. The problem is that more people need to actually stand up and learn to govern themselves instead of depending on the government. I'm not saying government doesn't have its place, but government's role, in my personal opinion, is to be there as a minimum safety net. I believe there should be a safety net for all of society, whether we're talking healthcare, we're talking, unemployment, we're talking about you are in a state of poverty, you're not able to make ends meet. There should be a safety net there. But government should not be there to intrude upon and run our lives. And I always side-eye whenever anyone says the government is here to protect us. Because then you have to ask the question of, protect us from what? And here's another problem when it comes to government. Most people in government have no intention of actually helping the people. They want to help themselves, or they merely are pursuing power for them, their pure power kink. That's the honest truth. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican. That's the reality. Need to go back to private IRC servers. At that point, I just use Matrix. I think there are fewer people on IRC these days than Matrix. Not saying it's a bad thing. That's the only reason I had kids, to exert power over their tiny infant bodies. I'm actually going back to physical media, like tape, CDs, and DVDs or so. Yeah, I actually have, my, Tangara, the iPod replacement, and I put my music on there. My friend found someone's FB open. She wrote, admission that he's gay. Chief is known for pants drop, not frame drop. I can be known for both. They have to fix clients first and foremost. I want Matrix to catch on and be popular, but if they don't fix Element and all its memory bugs on Android, and also calling is a big thing in group calls, if they fix also the way spaces work, then it's going to catch on. Well, yeah, if you remember, Discord used to be really janky and everything. Things take time. But the calling aspect of things on Matrix, you have to remember, is more so a limitation of the servers actually running the thing than the actual client. At least from my experience with it. Chief, did you hear about term limits? Yeah, you posted about that in the Discord. Someone introduced a bill for term limits. Do I think it's going to actually happen? Probably not. Talking about this House Joint Resolution. Well, let's take a look at it. Rep. Ralph Norman, South Carolina, 5th District. Oh, it's got 96 co-sponsors. So let's go through. Who are the sponsors? Okay. I'm seeing a lot of Republicans here, a few Democrats. Overwhelmingly Republican for the 96 that are here. That's interesting to me. Interesting. Okay. A lot of these actually endorsed back at the beginning of the year. That's interesting. And they're still getting endorsements pretty recently. This was back on the 8th. Little gap between the 20th and such. Well, it's being pushed by a lot of Republicans. So basically, for those of you not aware, this joint resolution proposes an amendment to the Constitution establishing term limits for individuals serving in the Senate and the House of Representatives. The proposed amendment makes an individual who has served 2 terms in the Senate ineligible for appointment or election in the Senate, and an individual who has served 3 terms as a member of the House of Representatives ineligible for election to the House of Representatives. This joint resolution provides that the amendment shall be valid when ratified by the legislatures of 3/4 of the states within 7 years after the date of the submission of ratification. That's where it's probably going to fall dead. So it's going to require ratification by 3/4 of states. So 12.5, 25. So you're looking at 37 states, I think, that need it. 37 to 38. Yeah, under Article 5 of the Constitution, both chambers of Congress may propose an amendment by a vote of 2/3. So they're basically... Oh, so yeah, it's an amendment to the Constitution. I probably should have, you know... Brain no worky right now. I need booze. But this is the part where it's going to die, I think, most likely. Because here's the problem. This means that it would have to go down to the states. I don't think it's going to pass. It's not a matter of me wanting it to pass. It's just looking at the reality of history of bills that have passed. There have been many amendments that have passed the House and Senate that have died. Like, what was there? I need to find this list that I found a while ago. There was... Hold on. There's a few I'm reading right now. Okay. I'm trying to remember. I think there was actually an equal pay amendment in the 1970s that failed. Here we go. We got a list of all the amendments that have been unratified. You have the Equal Rights Amendment. Okay, that's interesting. When was this proposed? 1972. Proposing an amendment to the Constitution of the United States relative to equal rights for men and women. Pretty straightforward. Why is that not a thing? Congressional Apportionment Amendment. Article the first, after the first enumeration required by the first article of the Constitution, there shall be one representative for every 30,000 until the number shall amount to 100, after which portion... Okay, you have that. Titles of Nobility Amendment, the Corwin Amendment, Child Labor Amendment. What? This was from 1924, and we still couldn't... This is how you know we're a third world country with a Gucci belt if we still don't have laws on the books to prevent child labor. There are laws, but it should be an amendment. 27th wasn't ratified until 1992? Which one was the 27th? The 27th Amendment prevents members of Congress from giving themselves immediate pay raises. Jesus. EU at least something good. USA pure greed. I don't know. I think all governments suck for different reasons. Let's remember, the EU's trying to push chat control through. Okay? You're literally trying to propose laws that undo Article 7 and 8 of your privacy and data rights. Trying to usurp encryption. So, all governments suck, but for different reasons. My wine fridge is too full. There's one thing going around where the people in office cannot own stock. I have no problem with members of Congress owning index funds, but individual stocks, yes, I see that as an issue. I have no issue. Let's say I run for Congress. You know, one day I decide to be a masochist and run for politics because, you know, apparently that's a better idea than death. I don't know. But, but let's say I ran for Congress or Senate or whatever, okay? I don't see an issue with me, like, saying investing in the Cybersecurity Index Fund, CYBR. Because that's an aggregate of all the different stocks out there in cybersecurity. And you're not picking one, you're just picking an index fund that happens to buy this entire sector of the industry. I have no issue with them owning index funds. Or having a financial planner that handles the investments for them. And they just can't touch it. All they can do is put money in it. And they have a fiduciary handling all that as their financial planner. It's like they will be able to know everything we do and say, yep. I see the net going extremely dark, as in there will be gray area decentralized communications. Yeah, I definitely see that. I think the governments are going to be creating a more dangerous internet. By virtue of all these things they're trying to do to protect the internet. As they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I think that's the problem overall. Isn't Borderlands 4 coming out in a month or so? You know, I've had Elden Ring installed on this computer and I've never played it. Nancy Pelosi was the exception to the rule with insider trading. Nancy Pelosi is the crypt keeper. That bag of Botox needs to retire. Oh, hello, buddy. What's up, Poppers? What's up, Poppers? It's a good boy. Cash App has Cyberstock. Yeah, I can believe it. And by the way, that's been a pretty good performer, because it's an index fund. You know, Convo's getting deep with Chief when he pulls out the wine. No, I'm just a millennial, and we've learned to embrace substances to deal with the way of the world. Okay, Barack. Barack? Barack. Buddy, quit licking the wine that I spilt on the floor. Come here. Chev. 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 Good boy. Now, Lamala. Lamala. Come on, up. Lamala. Come here. Lamala. Good boy. That's my good boy. That's my good boy. Yeah, it's my poppers. Can you believe you're a year and a half now? I remember when you were a puppy. Do y'all remember when we had the puppy cam on him? We used to have the cage out here and we had a webcam just for him. You grew up too fast. Where's your brother? Ari! Ari! Took 3 streams to grow up. Ari is a good boy. Chev? Lamala? Good boy. He lost his voice because he's been barking so much. He's a little derpy boy. He's my little derpy boy. Bobby. Okay. Yeah, Barack grew up so fast, I was thinking those streams would last a little longer with him being a puppy, but no! You were so cute as a little puppy. You were this big. Now you're this. Would you quit trying to sniff around? Oh, you're eating the potato chips that fell off earlier when I was working here. Not potato chips. They were, chicken chips. You know, the, wild chips that I get? These. They're protein chips made from chicken breasts. Yeah, that's right. We got chicken boobs in there. They're not bad, and they're not bad for you. PETA. What, people eat tasty animals? Exam results day for the UK tomorrow. Everybody drink! I'm kidding. Really. Trying to decide what I want to play tonight. I'm feeling like shooting something. But I could also play Path of Exile 2. Man, they've been having a lot of updates to Path of Exile 2. Drink if you pass or fail. The wine singers. Me being vegetarian. Being vegetarian isn't bad. Being vegan... That's more annoying. Mostly because of vegans than veganism. Let me put it this way. I don't have an issue with veganism. I have an issue with vegans. I don't have an issue with feminism. I have an issue with feminists. I don't have an issue with Christianity. I have an issue with Christians. Do you see where I'm going with this? Some people pervert their ideology to basically use it like a hammer to beat people over the head with it. I'm totally fine with a lot of those ideologies. It's the people that go and pervert it to try to, like, enforce things. Like, the Karens over at Collective Shout that are trying to shut down a lot of video games and stuff. Oh, like Arch. I use Arch BTW. Exactly. I don't have an issue with Arch. I have an issue with Arch users. Like you, Abby. Even though you were fun to hang out with at DEF CON. Vegans are the Mac users of food. No. Vegans are the Arch users of food.
Emotional, damn it.
Hold up. Vampire. Are they really trying to arrest gamers? Wait, what? This is legit? Max superiority complex needs to be studied. The only reason they feel superior is like anyone else that wears their wealth, but actually is a broke-ass person. Because let's put it this way. Wealthy people don't wear their wealth. What I mean by that is, I tell people all the time, don't judge a person by the car they drive. Judge a person by the tires on their car. If you don't know what I mean by that, how many people do you know are driving a really nice Mercedes or BMW but got bald tires? If you can't afford to maintain the car, you're not really that wealthy. You're just fronting. Yes, that feminist group tried to get gamer... I gotta look this up. Collective Shout Arrest Gamers. Okay, so I see Asmongold has commented on this, but I want to find an article. So I guess we'll pull up an Asmongold video. And we'll just do a meta reaction of a reaction video. So let's see. This is a day ago.
Trying to arrest anybody who says negative shit about them. Remember that group of annoying ass bitches in Australia that tried to get video games, like Steam to get rid of video games?
Okay, normally I wouldn't say it like that, but in this case, I'll allow it.
Because they were fucking bored. Well, they've been getting a little bit of pushback, and now they want gamers arrested. Big surprise, huh? Collective Shout? Yes. Collective Karens.
You're a gamer. You play games.
Yep.
But what if...
Collective Karens. I like that one. I'm an anti-capitalist, and I find it kind of funny when I see a MacBook with an anti-capitalist sticker at Starbucks. Oh, totally agree. I've said for years, I don't understand why a lot of these people that are so anti-capitalist don't want to embrace a communally supported operating system a la open source.
But people decided that your hobby was a crime. What if they wanted to use police, even international police, to come after you just for disagreeing with them? That's not a joke. It's happening right now, and it's all thanks to a group called Collective Shout, who are trying to get anyone who stands against them arrested.
That's
Meet
right.
Collective Shout, an Australian group that
And by the way, this won't work. The more that you get upset, the more that people will want to bully and attack you. This is something like a lot of...
That is a fair point. That is a fair point he's making. I will totally agree with that. The more you get upset about these kind of things, the more people are just going to get upset about it. Because the problem is, you have a bunch of Karens that are trying to dictate to the rest of the world how we should entertain ourselves. Because they don't like certain content. But these are the same women, if I remember, that were defending that, what was the show? Cuties? The show that I never watched because I found it really weird of a premise, and I felt like if I were to watch it, I would be on some kind of a list. But these ladies apparently defended it. Balloon Redeemed Hydrate.
I think that a lot of
It's
these...
91% water.
Generally, I think that especially certain types of women on the internet assume that playing the victim will just get people to, like, defend them. And to a certain extent, it will. But what I don't think that they understand is that it also means that you're bleeding. And if you can bleed, if it bleeds, we can kill it. As soon as people realize that they can get to you, and you show that it gets to you, you're done.
That is a fair point. Because you have to remember the internet that I grew up with, that a lot of the millennials grew up with, we were forged in the darkness, born by it, molded by it. I don't know if I got that quote right, but you get my point. We need a new rule of the internet. If people want to watch adult content, I will censor that word for the stream, they will find a way to do so. Absolutely. It's called Rule 34. And Rule 34 is there is always going to be adult content of it. And you know what Rule 35 is? Chat, do y'all know what Rule 35 is? If it does not, if adult content of it does not exist, there will soon be. Shiraz, the Karen Squad defending cuties? Yeah. Apparently. Hold on. The mod bot held back blue waffle. Yeah, we remember it. Rule 1, don't read the comments. Well, yeah, and the other thing is, like, look, Asmon is right, and let me make this very clear. I watch Asmon Gold from time to time. Do I always agree with him? No, but I'm a well-rounded individual, and I like to see perspectives from different people to actually, just at least, even if I don't agree with him, to see the perspectives of what other people do. But he is right here. There are a lot of people that are perpetual victims and will always play the victim card because that's how they can get power over people. We call these people cry bullies. And you would unfortunately see it a little bit too often in different groups. They will always, you know, if you make Asmon Gold look right, oh Lord. But he is right in this aspect. He's wrong on many other things. But I like to at least, you know, like I said, see what the perspectives of other people are so I can understand where they're coming from. Like there was a time when I even, it required a lot of alcohol to go through this, watched a few videos of Andrew Tate to understand what the hype was about. Now, I being a dude that is rather secure in their, you know, upbringing and everything like that, saw through his BS. And like a broken clock, it's right twice a day. But I could understand where a lot of young men were getting attached to this because, you know, if you don't look too deep, he seems like, you know, like the person you want to be. But once you actually scratch past the surface, you're like, no, he is an effed up individual. Oh, the Karen's going to say, I want to speak to the developers. They want to speak to the manager. One of the new episodes of Koth touches on this too well too. What's Koth? Why do I sound like I should know that? It's like asking the manager, but the manager's Michael Scott. Oh, King of the Hill. King of the Hill. Yes. Yeah, I watched the entire season on my way back from DEF CON. They did touch on this, actually. Yeah, you're right.
You're cooked. Yep. Bully logic? Yep, exactly. It's afraid? Yes.
They didn't like some of the games on platforms like...
Is that why you're bald watching Andrew Tate? No, I'm bald because I've had to put up with the BS of this entire world and ripped my hair out along the way. And it also is the stress of having to support Windows users and boomers. You know, the boomers. The ones that have to print out the things that they see on the internet because they don't know how to share a PDF.
and itch.io.
Exactly.
So what did they do after Gaben wouldn't listen to their complaints? They went after the money. They sent a letter to major payment companies like PayPal and MasterCard demanding they stop working with these game stores. Their argument was that some of the games had extreme content, framing it as illegal and that it should be removed. The thing is, it worked. The payment companies gave in. They told the game stores
worked previously with other things too. Large groups of bored middle-aged women that have lingering resentment towards men because their husband doesn't like them anymore because they're fat are probably the greatest threat to Western society that we have right now. They're worse than Hamas. They're worse than Russia. They're worse than, any like African warlord. They're worse than MS-13. They are the...
I don't know if I agree with that, but I would definitely say boomer women, the Karens specifically, they are a problem. Because let's remember, a lot of those Karens, they're MAGA. Or MAGA adjacent. You know the type I'm talking about. Not people that are like some of the cool relatives I have that are boomers that, are more hippie types that, aren't that path. But you know who I'm talking about. Does joining Cybersecurity and Marine help you get a job in the field? It can, but there's always that transition going from the military side of things to the private sector. That's the hard jump, going from military life to private sector. I know this from talking to a few veteran friends. So it's not always a one-to-one jump. It can't hurt you, is what I'm saying. I have gotten printed out emails via post because they did not know how to forward it. Yep, I've done that too. My nan spent 4,000 pounds on a printer and 400 pounds on the... What the hell? What kind of printer did she buy? Does it print gold? Because I had an old MacBook running Linux, I was in terminal and she thought I was hacking too. Yep, I've been there. The Office Grid. She bought an Office Grid, not like an HP Office Jet. You mean like a proper like Xerox or a Ricoh. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Prime evil.
Clean up their act or they would lose service. The game platforms removed thousands of titles to make sure that they fell in line with these financial companies' rules.
Within.
This
Yes.
response not only hurt the players of these games, it also caused financial damage to real people, including the thousands of developers who spent countless hours on the art and game development.
Of course.
It wasn't only that though. One of PayPal's largest acquiring banks terminated its service with Steam in every currency
Oh.
other than 6. So now it's no longer...
Yeah, that's been kind of annoying. That's the second part. You missed the first part. What was your first part? I'm trying to see through the chat. I see the Karen squad defending cuties. If you make Asmund Gold look right, oh lord. And then because I had a MacBook and she thought I was hacking, I don't see anything that did it get held? No, it didn't get held. The message got held. Yeah, the ones that print in 1 second. Jesus.
Just about adult games. Nearly every single person on the platform is now directly affected. Also, when a bank terminates its service with a merchant, they report it to the match list. We covered it in our previous video, but it's a secret confidential list that top banks and
Too scared to use my Linux laptop on a plane. Okay, so here's the funny thing. I've actually used this ADSB. Okay. I've used this on a plane. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is a section. This is a setting where you can actually have like a radar scope on it. Let me see if I can get this turned on. Okay. It's turning on. So we can open the radar scope. So imagine that, and I don't have the antenna attached right now, but imagine we have that, and I have an antenna attached, and it's now filling up with dots. And I'm on the plane spotting. Yeah, I had a flight attendant come up to me because a bunch of people were like looking at me weird. And then she's like, "Sir, are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm just watching planes." And you could see the sigh of relief and just like how everything's relaxing. And she had to go over to some Karens and explain he's just spotting planes. Don't worry, I've been stopped by airport security so many times just doing my work in an airport.
financial companies like MasterCard and Visa use to monitor risky merchants. Imagine it.
So why don't they just
Did it send now? I don't see
use that
it.
as evidence for an antitrust lawsuit and then just do this? Because in my opinion, like the big problem that I think we have with a lot of these.
Here, let's see if I can see the actual video. Let's just move to... Let's go to this video without his commentary. Because, you know, while I respect seeing it from different viewpoints, I don't always agree with Asmongold. Like, there was a few things he said, and I'm just like, let's give my own honest reaction to this stuff, okay? So I'll mark this for later.
Gamer, you play games. But what if a group of people decided that your hobby was a crime? What if they wanted to use police, even international police, to come after you just for disagreeing with them? That's not a joke. It's happening right now, and it's all thanks to a group called Collective Shout, who are trying to get anyone who stands against them arrested.
Oh. Did you send me the same video, Vampire? Thank you.
Collective Shout, an Australian group that decided they didn't like some of the games on platforms like Steam and itch.io. So what did they do after Gaben wouldn't listen to their complaints? They went after the money. They sent a letter to major payment companies like PayPal and MasterCard demanding they stop working with these game stores. Their argument was that some of the games had extreme content, framing it as illegal and that it should be removed. The thing is,
Did they really frame it as illegal? That's like, my question is, couldn't these developers that had their stuff removed, since they framed it as illegal, couldn't they sue Collective Shout for defamation? Or no? Would it be libel because it's written? Just a thought. I could be wrong. I'm not a lawyer. On a previous subject, I was at my local Starbucks and some lady got pissed at me because I was using an old MacBook with Linux on it and I was in terminal and she thought I was hacking. Yeah, that's happened way too many times for me.
it worked. The payment companies gave in. They told the game stores to clean up their act or they would lose service. The game platforms removed thousands of titles to make sure that they fell in line with these financial companies' rules. This response not only hurt the players of these games, it also caused financial damage to real people, including the thousands of developers who spent countless hours on the art and game development.
Not just the developers like that do, you know, the art and game development, but you also got to think about the there's musicians, sound directors, there's tons of different things going into game studios. I mean, there's IT jobs, there's cybersecurity, there's, all these different aspects that go into game development, not just the game development. There's the framework, there's the infrastructure, all of that stuff around. And believe me, Vampire, I will be asking my lawyer about that.
Wasn't only that though. One of PayPal's largest acquiring banks terminated its service with Steam in every currency.
Other than Euro, Canadian, Great British Pound, Japanese Y, Australian dollars, and USD. Damn, they basically hit like every other country that isn't in the great, the most of the, civilized world. So wait. There's some countries in the European blocs that it would affect too. And of course, you got Africa. A lot of Asian countries. That's effed.
Than 6. So now it's no longer just about adult games. Nearly every single person on the platform is now directly affected. Also, when a bank terminates its service with a merchant, they report it to the match list. We covered it in our previous video, but it's a secret confidential list that...
Let's see. Let's look at this chart here. Okay, so MasterCard network, acquire purchaser, add merchant, add terminated merchants to Match Pro via API UI GFT, receive and retain merchant reference number for the added merchant. Inquiry lookup, to evaluate risk before onboarding new merchants, acquirer submits merchant inquiry to Match Pro via API or UI or GFT. Receive a list of possible matching terminated merchants. Okay, I see where they're going with this. Yeah, so this is basically a database, kind of like a credit score, but it's something that everyone can look up. That is a bit concerning, if this is going where I think it is. I think I need a lawyer. I get some sort of benefit where I can pay for some legal resources, but of course I can't use them for anything related to my employer. Yeah, not affiliated with them. Check out Legal Shield. They're reasonably cost effective, and they give you a discount of like 25% on hourly services if you need more than just the basic consultation stuff. They've got me out of a few binds. I have them read contracts and stuff for me too.
Top banks and financial companies.
I think I pay like $30 a month for it.
Companies like MasterCard and Visa use to monitor risky merchants. Imagine it as a big red flag or a warning telling other banks not to work with Valve. Although the match list database is kept extremely private, the fact a bank has terminated service with Valve means they are highly likely to be on this blacklist. Another win, Collective Shout couldn't stop talking about this situation. You'd think a group that got what it wanted would move on to bigger things. But of course, this group doesn't actually care about protecting anyone other than removing content they don't like. To defend their actions...
Has Collective Shout actually said anything about Roblox? I'm asking a serious question here. You would think with everything going on, they would be like rallying against Roblox because that's supposed to be in their wheelhouse of like protecting children, but I have not heard Bubkiss. Yeah, my school figured out user access levels and you needed an admin password to install things, but command was fully unlocked and we got accused of hacking. Amateurs.
Show has been trying to paint these...
Not you, the guy who's securing the laptop.
...to larger organizations that have little understanding of gaming, like a United...
No, they let Roblox alone. What? So you're telling me these Karens are ruining gaming for all of us? Defend the freaking, like, PDF file loving, show cuties, and then just let... The call is coming from inside the house. Why don't we check their computers? I don't know. I just found it weird when, like, you got a bunch of Karens that are going around and basically just saying, you know, like, we gotta protect the kids! Avoids everything actually endangering the kids. Need to dox them to see if certain political parties are funding them. I think they've, for the most part, been doxed. I mean, they haven't really hidden their names. They're Karens. You know? Boomer Karens. If they would ban Roblox, they would need to spend time with their child and take care of them.
Special Rapporteur. A UN rapporteur are independent human rights experts who simply investigate and advise on issues. The fact that Collective Shout is trying to get one on their side shows they're actively working to legitimize their claims to a wider.
This is horrific, and I'm very alarmed by it. It represents the most serious form of online violence against women, human rights defenders I have seen in a long time. All this because Collective Shout is doing its job in calling out misogyny and violence against females online. I expect and hope all those that have a mandate to act, be they state, institutions, or businesses, to put an end to these threats and to the violence. See, this is the one problem I have with this. Don't get me wrong. Misogyny is a bad thing. But not all the people going against Collective Shout are men. There are trans people, female-presenting trans people, female developers that are affected by this stuff. And that's one thing I keep seeing in a lot of their posts and everything. They keep saying it's men doing this. Don't get me wrong. Men can be absolute pieces of shit. I'm bi, trust me. I know. I'm not going to dispute that. But to think that it's just men because they happen to be against you is a fallacious argument. Not only that, if I recall correctly, isn't this the same group that was hating on women that made the consensual choice to make adult content? So, do with that what you will. You're saying, like, lefty parties 100%, not so, more like right. No, here's the thing about this. Here's the thing about this. And this is what concerns me. If we look at Collective Shout, if we look at the UK government, and if we look at Christian conservatives that are all trying to push forth the same ideological reasons to block adult content and stuff like that in the name of protecting the kids, it's one of those things that comes back to horseshoe theory, where you go back far enough, you're very much alike. So I wouldn't really be so interested in saying that it's a left versus right issue so much as a anti-freedom issue, an anti-rights issue, an what's the word? Not actualization. Basically the meaning is that you have the right to determine your own fate and outcome. You know what I mean. Or that balloon. Yes, or that. If you want to protect children and women, I would go against the churches. So not all churches are bad, but I would say a lot of churches are bad. I've met some honestly genuine pastors, priests, and all that. I'm saying this as a Jewish dude. That genuinely are great people. But there are a lot of them that abuse their positions in various ways, whether it be financial or, you know, to assert power over certain people, do some sick and lewd things, as we've all heard about with the Catholic Church. But yeah. Where'd you post? Oh, the lady confronted me and it told me to leave because I was suspicious. I told her it was a Linux and she thought I was lying because no one uses Linux. My daughter's an expert and she said so. Wait until her and her daughter find out.
Non-gaming.
Yeah, I've had stuff like that, and then I, you know, literally just tell them, you know, well, you don't know crap, and I have, and the funny thing is, I've actually been in situations like that, and I say, well, then good, go tell the whatever person, I have a CISSP, and I've literally seen them say, he's got a CISP, just shut the hell up. Yeah, well, I'm not from Morocco. My family is, but yeah. Freedom is becoming a privilege in modern capitalism, unfortunately. Ooh, yeah. but we're not really, because we're forming into crony capitalism, where the capitalist structure is only supporting corrupt people and their agendas.
And now they found a partner in a report.
Oh, you just missed me going on a rant about these Karens and more stuff like that. They're scared of Linux while their phones are running it. Look, there are a lot of people that are ignorant. It blows people's minds when I tell them a lot of gas stations are pumping with Linux machines, or you go to Home Depot and they have Linux point-of-sale machines. I know that for a fact because when they weren't around, I noticed their GUI was, a little bit different, so I hopped behind the counter and I started playing with it. Until they told me to get out. I couldn't help myself.
From a group called the Online Hate Prevention Institute. This report, which sides with Collective Shout, is just saying why they think this censorship is so good and framing the pushback from gamers as a hateful, misogynistic campaign. But the most...
I hate the fact that they keep framing the opposition to Collective Shout as a purely misogynist thing. Again, I'm not disagreeing there is misogyny that exists. And I'm not going to disagree that it doesn't rear its ugly head in different places. This is not one of those. If they were men doing the exact same thing, you would get the same pushback. Now, admittedly, there are pieces of crap out there that are probably, just saying some really sexist things towards them. But I don't give a crap if you're a dude or a dudette. This ain't right. And I'm pretty sure the ladies in the chat, or lady presenting people, are going to agree with me.
Interesting part is when you reach the bottom conclusion. The Online Hate Prevention Institute has been shocked by both the extreme nature and volume of the content we have seen attacking Collective Shout, the women who work there and those that serve on its board of directors. The connect comes from accounts across multiple platforms. In some cases, new throwaway accounts have been created in an effort to anonymously post threats while trying to avoid any consequences. These are serious cases of cyber harassment, and there needs to be government responses, including international cooperation between law enforcement agencies. Threats of death and rape are not free speech, not even in the United States, where some of the trolls clearly come from. We're not talking about your local police. We're talking about agencies.
So yeah, if you're saying that kind of stuff, I don't agree with it. But I would say that they're focusing too much on the fact that there is this opposition to them, and singling in on the fact that they keep saying that it's only men. But I know a lot of women who play video games and do not want this, do not like this. They're scared of Linux while their phones are running it, gotta update their packages for them. It's on the same level like the dark web is only bad people and bad stuff, pretty much.
That deal with serious international crimes. They're asking for help from organizations like Interpol. It's crucial to understand that Interpol isn't a police force that would directly arrest you. Instead, it's a network that communicates between different countries' police. It would allow an Australian police force, like the Australian Federal Police, to coordinate with agencies in other countries, like the FBI in the US, to track down and investigate people. So Collective Shout's allies want to use laws that were designed to fight cybercrime, like harassment, threats, and defamation, to go after gamers who simply just don't want their games censored and controlled by people who have never played a video game in their life. And while no one...
Yeah, it's fair enough. I don't agree with it either. But at a certain point, they need to do some introspection and reflection as to why there are these responses there. Now, I know some people will say, I'm just a man with external genitalia. My opinion doesn't matter on this, and I'm not going to disagree. Being a woman has its own struggles and issues. I've seen it firsthand where there are women in tech that get disrespected because they are women. One of my mentors, one of the best bosses I ever had, I literally saw where I would be in meetings with potential vendors or stuff. Mind you, she's the CTO. I just was her right-hand person. And they would talk to me when I would have to correct them and say, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm here to support her. I will clarify things if she doesn't understand it, but you must speak to her. I work for her. I've seen like a lot of bullshit. But this ain't it. Yes, you're getting a lot of hate. Yes, I don't agree with like people throwing kinds of threats and things like that. But you have to sit back and stand back and say, maybe there is some honest criticism here, because it's not just men that are against this.
But accept threats of violence, a number of people have found that Collective Shout has been faking threats against themselves to gain.
Hold up, what? Hold on. Do I have a sound for this?
Empathy and
Close enough.
donations. They genuinely think that if they just say the games are illegal and anyone who speaks up against them is misogynistic or a rapist, that it will just make everyone agree and listen to them. Remember, like Valve has said.
So that kind of goes back to my point about cry bullies a little earlier. There are cry bullies. Like, don't get me wrong. There is a lot of things wrong with the world, especially towards how a lot of the world approaches and views women. I will not disagree with that. But I also think we've all experienced people that like to be professional victims. Men and women alike. And they will become cry bullies and use their view of victimization as a way to bully you to back down. So that sounds like what they're doing, because a lot of times you find these cry bullies making up things that aren't true so that they can justify their continued self-victimization.
The games they were targeting were legal and fit inside their original policies, so it genuinely seems like Collective Shout may actually start to work with police to pursue criminal charges against gamers. Collective Shout is straight.
You know how much BS this is, okay? Mind you, this is me saying this, okay? I disagree with this as much as I disagree with the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, getting the powers that they do to determine what is anti-Semitic hate speech. Because let me tell you, a lot of people in the Jewish community do not like the ADL, especially after they defended Elon Musk, had egg on their face about all that crap that was going on. And they are part of the problem as to why there is such a conflation with being anti-Israel is anti-Semitic, when you can be against Israel while not being anti-Semitic. But I will clarify and say, there are some people, though, I can tell you, that use their stance of anti-Israel as really just thinly veiled anti-Semitism. But with that being said, ADL working alongside law enforcement is as bad as Collective Shout if they work alongside law enforcement. Because they will be bending the law to a bias that doesn't make sense for the groups that they claim to be protecting. And they then pervert their own ideals by doing so. That's my 2 cents.
Coming into a space that's not theirs, trying to control it, and they don't want anyone to speak up against it. They got cooked so hard they had to private their X account, which is...
Hold up, they had to private their account? They had to private their account? Like, I privated my account on Twitter because, well, Twitter just sucks. But you're the one out here calling yourself Collective Shout. You shout into the void, and then suddenly the void shouts back at you, and you get scared.
It's likely why they had to start begging for donations.
Help us protect our cyber systems from malicious attacks. Help keep our online spaces free of women haters and trolls. Help us collate briefs of evidence for police, e-safety, and our lawyers. Help uphold our freedoms and rights to continue speaking out. Send a message that we will not be defeated, yet you private your account, and it's not just men. Help keep our online spaces free of women, haters, and trolls. Do you know how many women, whether they, women, and I mean that in the sense of they're female presenting in the general sense, that have not agreed with this? There are plenty of women that I know, IRL, that are gamers that do not agree with them. That's what far-right AfD is doing here in Germany, and those fascists are really successful with their dangerous BS. What are they doing? The cry-bully stuff? I am dude presenting, but I don't really feel like a dude or anybody. And that's totally cool, dude. And I'm saying dude in the gender-neutral sense. Bro, close the void.
We're starting to look bad for their supporters. So let that all sink in. A group is trying to get international police involved. They want law enforcement to target people who oppose them. Although Collective Shout tries to act like the victims, this campaign has already directly affected thousands of developers, many of them small, independent creators who lost their income overnight. Luckily, Valve is on their side, but that still doesn't change the fact that their previous work was removed. So Collective Shout is directly responsible for inflicting financial damage on thousands of people. Because Collective
And those people they're inflicting damage on are not just men. It's women as well.
is an Australian group.
Collective Whisper. That's what we can call them. Not Careless Whisper, Collective Whisper. What if we troll their offices with Careless Whisper?
Developers could group together and file a class action lawsuit against them.
The crybaby stuff and hate against minorities is like 1933. Well, that's how the funny mustache man aficionados of the 1920s and later 30s actually gained power, was they played themselves to be the victim and then used a bunch of different people as the scapegoats. My people. One of them, the gypsies, the LGBT, then they went after the disabled and, everyone that just opposed them.
Economical damages. Their most likely path to a win would be in an Australian court, as US courts would have difficulty claiming jurisdiction over an Australian organizations for actions that launched overseas. This is just a thought for all the game developers who are affected, as these power-hungry people won't stop until they face consequences.
I know some females that made games that got hit in that BS. Yeah, I know a few female and female presenting, it kind of sounds weird to say female. Let's just call it what it is, women. It always sounds weird when it's like, females. It sounds wrong. It just does. Not just in the grammatical sense, but just as the, humane sense? But yeah, so yeah, I know women that made games that also got hit in the BS.
Won't just stop here. According to MasterCard's rules, any game with non-consensual mutilation could be hit, and since—
Hold up! Any game with non-consensual— Do you know how many games that affects? They get an arm cut off. They get a leg cut off. They were turned into a bot. RoboCop would be affected. He was non-consensually effed up by gangsters that blew him away, and then he was, thrown into a metallic suit.
Is now forced to follow their rules. This means nearly every top game could get removed. By not fighting back, we are allowing a small group to dictate what is acceptable.
Eating meat could be argued as non-consensual. But what about when my boyfriend eats mine?
Emotional, damn it!
I know women who have nothing to do with gaming apart from The Sims 4 who oppose this. Well, of course, because they have a brain. Anyone who has a brain is against this crap.
For an entire global community.
Oh, Inspector Gadget too would be affected. You're right. You're right.
Trump has signed an executive order that is meant to stop banks from debanking or denying financial services for.
So I will say this. Look, I will give credit where credit is due, and the fair banking executive order that Donald Trump actually signed into, it's not really law, but, you know, it's an executive order. I agree with it. The problem is it's just an executive order. We need that codified into U.S. law. And dare I say it, the U.S. Constitution. Do the candies and Candy Crush is okay with being cleared out? No, apparently that's too violent for Collective Shout. You, according to Collective Shout, are only allowed to play with a stick and a hoop. Wait, nope. It's too violent. You're beating a hoop with a stick. Can't have that either. You can't have the stick because you might hit somebody. So you know what you get? You get water. Not even a squirt gun. You might be able to pistol whip someone. You get water. You don't even get a cup. You have to hold it by your hands because the cup could be used as a weapon. That's what Collective Shout does.
Or reputational risk reasons. So if it is a lawful activity, they can't deny it, which is what's happening exactly here. While this executive order is a big step, it's not a full law just yet and won't help everyone around the world. Now, regardless of how long it takes, I wouldn't be surprised if Valve comes out with a solution so they no longer have to be dependent on these large financial companies. Make sure you support the developers, speak out against this kind of censorship, and whatever you do, don't let them win.
I ain't never gonna let a Karen win.
So
Karen ain't gonna take me down. Ugh. Yeah, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean is banned. Yeah. We can't have that brick on brick violence. Can't do that. I want the bat, not the stick. Batman! Batman! Okay, so hold on. Why some Karens in Australia decide. I don't know how the hell they got that much power. Who gave them that much power? And yeah, it makes no sense to me. They claim to be protecting women and children, but they seem to be going after a lot of the industries that women actually tend to be part of. Makes no sense to me. Why can't they just say, you know, we don't like this. I'm just not going to let my kids play it. Probably because their significant other doesn't like them either. Alright, we're gonna chill out for the rest of the night. We can still talk all the other stuff and everything. I just feel like I want to shoot something. So we're gonna probably put some Halo on. Baby, let me see a Halo, Halo, Halo. Alright. We haven't played this in a minute. Halo Chief Master Chief Collection. The kids are smarter than Karen, so they will not be able to play. They will be able to play it anyways. Well, of course. Look, Australia and Europe and for some reason have just lost their spine. I don't know what it is that suddenly they've just bent over and took it up the butt to be like, yeah, we'll just take away freedom of speech. I feel like the world as a whole is sliding backwards in ways that I hope we can claw back from. I hope... Wait, we can't make money with freedom. Well... Not... The elites are the only ones allowed to be free. But wow, Collective Shout is a bunch of Karens. Is it Palestine that don't like those videos and protests? Wait, what? Doesn't make sense to me. It was after Trump got into office, like he's blackmailing them to let that happen. Could you expand on what you mean by, like, let that happen? I'm just not sure I'm picking up on the context here. God damn it. Really? You gonna make me log into this crap? Gotta pull up my frickin' password manager. Gotta find my damn password. All I'm saying is EU and others had a spin until Trump got into office. Well, yeah. Definitely. Enter your password right here. Oh, sure. So, Dasis, do you want my password? It's, password 123456. There you go. There we go. I'm system admin. Give login info. Sure, I will give you the password so you can do the needful. The hell? How did I not get the, Really? You're gonna make me have to install that again? I had this game installed. I did not have to reinstall this. That is so dumb. Don't believe it's left nut, right nut, 1, 2, 3, pound, pound.
Let's find Halsey's lab. Move.
I was gonna play the original Halo, but whatever.
Positions. Only was expecting company. They sure as hell got it. Doctor, we have hostiles inbound.
Spartans, you cannot allow the Covenant to break through the door.
So I guess we're just gonna play Reach. Didn't I have a Halo 5?
Noble team, there are 4 defense turrets to assist you in defending the lab. Get them online, and quick. When the turrets take too much damage, they'll shut down to recharge. You'll need to reactivate them when they come back online.
Noble 6, activate the turret to set up a perimeter.
Press E. Okay, so we've got about 30 meters. What the hell? Didn't mean to do that.
I need more time. Whatever you have to do, do it.
This one's closer. Hey, buddies. Okay, so we got another turret over here. You know, I feel like he should be able to run longer. Shit, I'm surrounded. Chief, are you excited to see Xbox players in Helldiver? I haven't played Helldivers in a minute. I should play that too. Let's go get that jackal. Shot you right in the butt. March 6th, I heard they will be. Really? So wait, did Sony accept the fact that, you know, they got to, expand their game? The one thing is, like, I used to play console a little bit. I never could do console as well as I could do a, computer. That's right, give it a smackdown. I'm gonna give you the chair. Wait, how do you activate the jetpack? Hold on, I can't remember my settings and my key bindings. Let's see. I don't know, that or Steam came to Xbox. I don't think they're doing that, because doesn't Sony own it? It's kind of weird that Sony is, accepting they're gonna have to expand it. Because remember when they were, like, requiring everyone to have a Sony account? Okay, jump is space. Throw, use armor ability. Oh, shift. Thank you for the follow, Matnology. There we go.
Watch out!
Eat shit and die. I'm gonna take one of them.
Let's make this quick, Spartan!
Ooh.
Hold on, Spartans. We're getting close.
They got me zero!
Wait. They don't follow me? Annoying.
Troops to flank us.
Maybe we can grab a banshee and bring the fight to them.
Challenge accepted. Let's go get a banshee, boys. I had to sticky him. I gotta get my aim back on. I think I'm gonna tell myself to sleep now, get in here, and watch YouTube till I hear the birds. Alright, Delsis, thanks for hanging out with me. Happy hacking, bud. I started tech school last Thursday. Nice! Anything in particular you're wanting to study or in a track for? Eat shit and die, motherfucker. Shit, 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 shit. Woo, that was close. Hit the wrong button.
Your package is almost ready. Just a little more.
Get that turret back online. Yo. Phantom, get your ass over here. Get over here.
Get your defenses ready, 6.
Oh, you want some too?
Well done, Spartans. I'm opening the laboratory door.
God damn it. My mouse got stuck. Physically.
Your package is almost ready. Just a little more.
Just get right above that blind spot.
All Covenant, get your defenses ready, 6.
Shit.
Package is almost ready. Just a little more.
There we go. I'm starting to get the hang of it again. Probably gonna die again, but so be it.
All Covenant, get your defenses ready, 6.
Get the lead. I forgot I could just run these motherfuckers over.
Well done, Spartans.
Okay.
Opening the laboratory door.
Enter Halsey's lab. Okay. Hey, buddy. Bye, buddy.
Doors open, Noble 6. Get to the lab.
Okay, we activated the door to the lab. Let's move on. I don't think I've beaten Reach yet. I think I just stopped mid-game and forgot to continue. You know, I read the books for Halo Reach and all that. Yeah, there are Halo books, by the way. I was really into the Halo universe when it first came out. Back in the day when games used to have amazing lore and stories and universe building.
An ancient civilization. This AI is its custodian, and she has chosen you as her couriers.
Chosen? By an AI?
By this AI, yes. Her measure of you carries as much weight as my own, perhaps more. You are to take her to
The birth of Cortana.
shipbreaking yard in Azad. There you'll
You
find
know, I
a
was so
halcyon
bummed that they,
to get her off planet.
canceled, the Halo TV show. I loved it.
Mankind is outmatched. When Reach falls, and it will fall, our annihilation is all but certain. Unless we can glean from this artifact a defense against the Covenant. A game changer. On the level of the conical bullet in the 19th century, or faster than light travel in the 23rd.
And what if we can't?
An apt question, if there were somewhere else to place our hope. There is not. Take it, Lieutenant. She has made her choice. Do you have it?
Yes,
Say the words, please.
I have it.
Wait, doesn't Chief get Cortana or something like that during Reach?
I require no escort.
But I guess Chief isn't here.
Nothing falls into enemy hands. I'll do what's necessary, sir. Good luck. You too, Rifleman.
Why are we just watching his
I
ass?
need a heading dot,
At 3 kilometers north, turn right, heading 050.
which leads to...
The shipbreaking yards in Azad, the only off-planet extraction point left on this continent. Small-scale air attacks have decimated many convoys en route. An armada of Covenant cruisers is hastening to the site as well. UNSC cruiser Pillar of Autumn is awaiting your arrival.
Oh, the Pillar of Autumn.
Noble mission if it
I remember
were
that
easy.
ship. Chief lose Cortana at one point. Yeah. At one point.
Noble Leader, seek immediate medical attention. Noble Leader, please respond. Please respond. Sierra 259. You are alarming me.
Not sure how long she's gonna stay together. Skies are jammed up anyway. Gotta get you off her, Lieutenant.
Sir,
You don't want to hear it. Get the package to the Autumn.
done.
Not yet, it's not. Emil, go with him. It's a ground game now.
It's been an honor, sir.
Likewise. I'll do what I can to draw their fire. 6. That AI chose you. She made the right choice. On my mark. Mark!
That's a... The balls to have that kind of a drop out of a plane without a chute.
deliver that package.
Here's our destination, 6. Pillar of Order. Race you to her.
Okay, we got a bunch of jackals. Grunts. Jackals over there. More grunts. Bye, boys! Bye, boys! Shit, I don't have much ammo. Come on. You gotta do better than that. I saw a shotgun over there. Oh, you died in vain. Poor you. Do I play Warframe? Yeah, I play Warframe. I haven't played it in a while, but yeah, I play Warframe. Not that high of a mastery rank, though. I think I'm like 10 or 11. Not much.
We got transport.
Please give me plat. Okay, we got Banshees up top. Gun it, bitch! Can you move the pic so I can see your PC? Not really, it's stationary. The camera's behind a teleprompter. You can see it better when I'm on camera on Twitch and stuff.
Get the package out of there. Remember your objective.
Goddamn. Got them Titan spiders. Why are you slowing down? Damn AI. See you later, Vampire. Thanks for hanging out. New to Linux. What distro should I do to learn Linux? I've used Pop OS. I kind of like it. There's Ubuntu, Linux Mint. I use Pop OS daily and it works fine. It's great for beginners and advanced people. Why not use Windows? Because Windows is a bloated piece of junk that slows down over time, invades your privacy, and it's just not that secure nor fast. Whereas Linux actually gets faster over time. Yeah, they actually do optimization still to this day. Learning Linux for career, would you still recommend Pop OS or Mint? I prefer Pop OS. I just feel like Mint is a little bit too much like Windows, whereas you should learn the different desktop environments and learn to adapt to different things. Mint isn't bad, per se. It's just... I feel like it's trying to cater a bit too much to the Windows experience, and people don't realize just how bad the experience on Windows actually is. Kept your 6 open, buddy. There we go. Okay, we got some snipers up top. It's okay. I got you. God damn. That dude took 3 hits. Please tell me I got a grenade. Please tell me I got a grenade. God damn it. What I should have had was more speed. Not trying to not trying a battery reset technique. For what? I want to put a touchscreen in my ThinkPad so I can lay in bed. Wait, what? Should I install it on my main rig or get a laptop to get into it? You can do a virtual machine. Shit. I need to get that turret driver. Use a virtual machine. So if you have Windows Pro, you can actually use Hyper-V. If not, VirtualBox is okay. It's not the greatest. It's at least a good starting point. Wait. No, that's not a fuel rod. What the hell? Lucky shot. I want to put a touchscreen in my ThinkPad so I can lay in bed and start the next video with my... Don't sleep and wait to collapse. Ah! Okay. Bye-bye! Okay, we're at the next checkpoint. Kamikaze! Let him blow! I forget those guys are holding the pins. There we go. Shit, I'm running low on ammo. Keep forgetting I got that motion sensor right there. And I can smack that bitch right there. Alright, we're running through these sand dunes over here. Another checkpoint.
Noble, you've got a situation.
Mother! We can get past this, sir.
No, you can't. Not without help.
Commander, you don't have the firepower.
I've got the mask.
Solid copy. Hit him hard, boss.
You're on your own, Noble. Carter out.
Crevice to the east. Let's go.
I was like, am I supposed to jump off that cliff? That ain't happening.
Buggers. Go quiet.
Goddamn bugs. One last one. Come on, buddy. You know you want me. I know you want me. Alright. Let's hump our way to that crevice. Phrasing. Come on, Shields. Come on. Anything over here? Nope. Just a drop.
Here we go.
Okay, I missed you, but I didn't miss that time.
Spartans, over here!
Understood. You gotta get to the dry dock. Priority 1.
This is Captain Keyes of the Pillar of Autumn. We are tracking you, Noble, and we've begun our launch sequence. Proceed to dry dock, platform D. I'll be on it myself to receive the package.
We'll be there, sir.
Better be, soldier, because my countdown is no abort.
All right. Kick the tires. Light the fires.
Over here.
God damn, there's so many of them. Whited out my screen. You getting right up in my grill? God damn. Got you in the ass. Oh, I see you, golden boy.
Status? Area clear.
Alright, I guess we gotta do a sweep of the building. I don't like this, it's too quiet. Me and my goddamn big mouth. What the hell? You just disappear into the wall? Nanny, boo boo, you can't see me. I can see you. That's what I was trying to do. Hey, I did that with that scope. Nice. Oh, hit the wrong button. Oh, I forgot I have the shield instead of the, sprint. I really hate how they do that in this game. You either can sprint or you can have a power-up. Screw this. God damn it. Now that's how you fucking ride a phantom. Step right up. The beatings will continue until morale improves. God damn it, I keep forgetting I do not have a sprint. God damn it, I forgot there was another elite over there.
Noble Actual, we're currently in Phoenix.
Hey. Alright, let's move on. See if we can at least finish this level tonight.
Yeah, okay, I see him. I got him.
Spartans, dry dock's through that structure across the way.
I'm here.
Punch through. We'll back you up.
Tingle! Move back! Look out, Phantom coming in hot!
Cool. Got them cleared. Let's go.
Watch that Phantom!
Alright, Marines, let's do it.
All clear.
Alright. Okay, we're at another checkpoint. We got brutes. No hunters. Woohoo! Shit, that was close. Wish I had a damn rocket launcher. You were annoying the fuck out of me. Trying to remember, how do I get these guys? I just gotta load them up. I gotta hit him in the back. That's what I think I remember. Woohoo! No! God damn it. Oh, god damn, he KO'd me in one hit. I wanna get these goddamn hunters. Ooh, so close, so close, so close. You smell pretty. Gotta do better than that. Come on! Too slow. Ooh, close on that one. Heard that ricochet. Ooh. Oh, so close. He gonna KO me in one shot. There we go. Sticky! God damn it! I threw a grenade right on you. How you survive that? Come on, Emil.
I need cover! Take cover!
Gotcha. All right. Up top. Let's go. Got him. Oh, you kept your 6 wide open, bud.
Keys to novelty. We're running out of time here, Spartans.
Okay.
same plasma. Burns.
Think I saw some there. Nope. I'm gonna need some ammo. I'm gonna have to take a Covenant gun soon. I don't like that shit.
We rig the mass driver up top. We lose that, the Autumn has no covering fire. She'll never make orbit.
Noble to Keys. We're at the pad.
Copy, Noble. My Pelican's ready. Clear an LZ. I'll meet you there.
Will do, sir. All right, Six. This is it.
About to have company.
I'll man the big gun. You just get to the platform and deliver that package.
I'm in position. I'll take out as many dropships as I can.
Shit, they just overran me. I probably need to take a brute shot.
Noble to Keys. We're at the pad.
Copy, Noble. My Pelican's ready. Clear an LZ. I'll meet you there.
Will do, sir.
Okay, we got ammo.
All right, Six. This is it. I'll man the big gun. You just get to the platform and deliver that package.
I'm in position. I'll take out as many dropships as I can.
Overthrew that. Got it! I'm gonna need some more shoddy ammo. Shit! He just came out of nowhere. Leroy Jenkins.
I'm in cover.
Hold them off until Keys gets here.
Multiplying. I'm dug in.
Shit. Phantom dropping down. Eat shit and die. Just in time. Got him. Yeah, we're just finishing up this level for the night. Had a nice talk about chat control and the Karens over at Collective Shout. Woo! Oh, you want some too? I can spread that love. Yeah, chat control is definitely kind of scary. Well, not kind of, it really is scary. Shit, shields are down. Alright, I need shoddy ammo. Okay, that's the last of the shoddy ammo, I take it. Dude, he came up right behind me. Would be cool to have you talking about ways around it, what to do if things get worse from a technological standpoint. Honestly, if it gets to that point, you need to talk revolution. You need to start talking about voting people out. And protesting like hell. Because the only ways around it are basically move. But the problem is they're doing it in the UK. They're doing it all over the EU. They're doing it all over the USA. But right now, you gotta contact your MEPs, MPs about all this shit. Damn it! Nobody was asked about any of this. Well, the problem is, so many people don't want to get involved in politics. Look, I lived in Europe, but you gotta contact the people in charge. And the problem with a lot of Europeans is they don't want to be vocal about politics until it's too late. And then criticize us Americans for always, you know, being too political and making everything political. Yes, we maybe do that, but, you know, you gotta take a stand at some point. The pirate here, but they're pretty much dead now, sadly. Yeah, they lost a lot of their, popularity when the pirate base stopped being so popular.
clear.
On my way.
6, time for you to leave. Get the package to the pad and get your ass off this plane. I got your back.
This is Keys on hot approach to Platform Delta. Ready to take possession of the package, Noble.
There we go. Finish this scene and finish the game for tonight.
Good to see you, Spartan. Halsey assured me I could count on you.
But yeah, I've been doing my part to try to communicate about chat control, the Screen Act, COSA, UK Online Safety Act.
Adjusting heading for the auto.
Because it's bad. The UK, the EU, the US, they're all doing some form. And it has nothing to do with protecting kids. It's all bullshit. They're not protecting kids. They're protecting themselves from journalists, whistleblowers, political dissidents from speaking out. That's what they're really scared about.
Who's next? I'm ready! How about you?
Lieutenant, get aboard! We gotta get the hell out of here!
Negative. I have the gun. Good luck, sir.
Good luck to you, Spartan.
Yeah, explicitly state that all this stuff will not affect politicians, military, etc. I mean, what the fuck? How can you make it more obvious? Can you make it? Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, but it is getting late. I have work tomorrow. So thank you all for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. I'm on Discord, Mastodon, I have a TikTok, Mastodon, Blue Sky, YouTube, Threads, all of that. And then, of course, don't forget to join the Discord and the Matrix server. There was a video put on YouTube earlier today about chat control, COSA, all of that stuff. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Go share it with your friends. Go share it with your lady. Go share it with your boyfriend. Go share it with your hooker. You know, everyone should be aware of this. Thank you all for joining me. I love all your faces. Happy hacking. And I will see you, if not Friday, for a surprise stream, or possibly tomorrow. Sunday for sure is the next scheduled one. Thank you all. Happy hacking. Stick around for the raid if you're on Twitch.